Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Sopko, for your candor. It seems to me that your job here, from the perspective of some of my colleagues, is to make sure you do a good job at bashing or affirming that President Trump is pathetic and doesn't have a strategy, and this is all his fault. And I actually applaud your efforts to kind of stay out of the fray in that regard. I don't think any of us are perfect. I think the president does want to get out of Afghanistan, and it's hard to determine what the facts are. The Post's article kind of laid out the fact that we don't know the information, and you have reaffirmed that. Classifications, even in the president's own defense, when he wanted to declassified information that would buttress his own innocence in claims against him, he can't seem to get that done. This town has a way of sequestering the information most important to it and most damning to it and the people in it. That having been said, I'd like to get to some of the information. You highlighted challenges regarding coordination of reconstruction in Afghanistan and the fact that there's no one in charge. There's no culpable, whether it's on the Afghan side or whether they're on the American side or some NGO, et cetera. The old adage that if everyone's in charge, no one's in charge. Have there been any improvements in this since you have continued to decry that over the course of your reporting? Have there been any improvements regarding culpability, regarding assignment for responsibility, so to speak, in Afghan reconstruction projects?
If I could have one moment.
Sure.
Well, it's unanimous. No. No, we haven't seen any improvements. And again, I don't want to turn this into a comedy routine. Problem is, this is a very complicated, this is a NATO operation. We have multiple donors. We have multiple donors who are just doing reconstruction. Some are providing military. It's a problem. And I really think it's something that Congress needs to focus on. Because we will do this again, and there are going to be multiple people wearing multiple hats, and we actually have an entire report looking on, I forget the title of it, is Divided Responsibility. And that report goes into, unfortunately, gory detail of how convoluted the process is. And again, this isn't meant as a criticism of any administration. This is meant as a criticism of the complexities of government. This has got over 900 footnotes highlighting, maybe this is the difference between us and the Washington Post. We go into a lot of detail on this. And no, there is a problem. And it's not just in the military field, although this report focuses on that, but it also goes to the reconstruction field. So I think this is a worthwhile area for you and Congress to focus on. Divided responsibilities in Afghanistan and in these post-conflict environments.
With the little time that I have, let me just query you a little further on that. It's your studied opinion that that should be the purview of Congress to assign those responsibilities, only in the context that, look, I'm a Black Hawk pilot, and I don't want to teach law enforcement, and I wouldn't be any good at it. But while I'm surrounded by a lot of really well-intended people that are smart, I'm not sure Congress is the best answer either. And it seems to me that somebody that can act somewhat autonomously, determine the problem and see the solution set, somebody like a Mark Green or anybody in that capacity should be able to say, look, here's the project, here's the agencies involved, here's where the funding is, you're in charge, here's the report time, knock yourself out. And this is what we expect from you, and if you can't get the job done, then in 6 months, we're going to look for a replacement. Why do you think it should be Congress? I'm concerned about that, but I'm listening.
No. I think part of the reason is some of these authorities and responsibilities are established by law, first of all. And what we're dealing with in Afghanistan is a whole of government and whole of government's approach. And a lot of this is going to have to be done statutorily. I'm not saying that any one committee up here are the best ones to decide, but it should be recognized we have a problem. I was going to look at the chart.
My time's expired, sir, but could you just do this with the chairman's indulgence? Could you give us one example regarding a statute where you think we could make a difference so I can kind of contextualize this?
I'll definitely do it. I asked my staff to do it right now.
thank
We'll
you.
get back to you.